Barjac. I came to interview
20 years ago you was in
about
Barjac?
20 years ago.
Oh, then you should come again because it's changed completely now.
Anselm, we're here to talk about this new installation at White Cube, which has been the setting for exhibitions of your work, whose conceptual scope seems to have become ever more far-reaching. And today we're thinking about your latest project, which revolves around your fascination, your obsession over many years with Finnegan's Wake, the systematic intricacies of Joyce's Finnegan's Wake. When did this obsession begin?
First, I read when I was quite young, Ulysses. And this was, I understood half. And then when I was later in high school, 15 years, 16 years, I read it again and then I liked it very much. Clear. But with Finnegan's Wake, it was a fight, you know. Mm-hmm. I knew, that's very important. I knew it from Beckett. This is so important. And I thought, why I don't get it? It was a thing of failure for me, you know. And then I bought a book with German and English, also German on the right side, and this didn't work at all with German, you know. It was really, but more and more, I thought he thinks like me. Mm-hmm. Since I would say I worked on it since 30, 40 years, mm-hmm. But since the last 10 years, I got it more.
And you're pulling in some of your work from earlier years.
Yeah. This is like Finnegan's Wake. It umfasst, it comprehends, it umfasst mehrere Jahrzehnte. Mm-hmm. It closes more than one Disney. Mm-hmm. It includes more than.
So we have echoes of your previous work all in
Sure. Yeah. Some of those stuff is very old. Yes.
You couldn't have chosen a more challenging text for the non-native speaker of English. You're not a native speaker of English.
No.
Because the Wake splices together fragments of dozens of other languages, but they're all embedded within a semantic and a syntactical framework that is just about English.
Yes, but it's not, you know, it was not only that English is not my language, but I could find in his system of changing words. I find it, for example, with Klepnikov too. Mm-hmm. Or in Austria, there's a poet, Jandl, mm-hmm. who makes also this fun with words, you know, and so this I could understand not only through James Joyce, but also for example, through Klepnikov.
Right. Yeah.
Who has not the same, but similar twist of the words.
Okay. And of course, you also quoted from writers like Virgil and Marinetti. I'm thinking of names that come up, quotations that come up in Klepnika, and German authors.
It's completely crazy what comes up. German words even.
Yes.
Verballhornte deutsche Wörter, funny German words. Or, you know, all the Indian tradition, what is in, the Indian writers. Yeah. And this is fantastic. So it's no more so important that I'm not an Englishman, I'm not an English speaker man, but I could, through all these languages, I could understand more. And also, in the meantime, you know, a few years ago, I bought discs from where all the Finnegan's Wake is in discs, I think 10 or 12, from an actor spoken. And these I liked so much, you know. I read it running in my studio, and it's music, you know.
Well, Joyce's own reading of his work is very melodic.
Yeah.
Yes. In Finnegan's Wake, we're given a sense of the movement of history being organized in cycles.
Yeah.
Joyce was obsessed with history as a system of echoes and repetitions.
His book starts with the end again.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he references earlier thinkers who have thought about the movement of history in this way, in particular Vico, Giambattista Vico, which leads Joyce to refer to his book, Finnegan's Wake, as a Vico cyclometer. And it strikes me that several of your earlier projects have offered a parallel in sort of paranoid histories of paranoid theories of historical repetitions. Klebnikov, yes. Fulcanelli, the great cathedrals and temple hops.
The language of the birds. Fulcanelli, yeah.
Right.
So that it fits very well. Language of the birds, you know, with James Joyce.
Absolutely. I mean, you're fascinated by such ideas, but in the past you've often associated them with and evoked them in relation to the processes of decay, exhaustion, abandonment. With the current installation, is there something different? Are you celebrating a process that seems still very much alive?
I always see my work different from what critics write also, because it's not about, what you said, what word?
Expiration, decay.
No, it's not by the expiration.
Yeah.
You know, it's very often about ruins. But ruins are hope, you know?
Yeah.
Ruins are hope. Because hope is something what you don't expect already in a designing. But hope is something what is open for the future, you know? And I think nothing can be more beautiful than the ruins after the Second World War in Germany.
Right.
Because it's hope.
Right.
It's fantastic, you know.
Have to rebuild. Yeah.
Yeah, and you have all the possibilities to do something.
The room we're sitting in now includes paintings I haven't seen before, which makes it look as if the dawn is rising. Is this right?
No, this is about water. Because
the Liffey, the river Liffey.
I see in James' work a lot of water. Mm-hmm. Not only that the river, where's the river? Liffey.
The river Liffey.
Not only
yes.
this is there, but also how he writes, you know, the murmuring of the water, you know, and the waves coming, you know, that's unendlich, infinite movement every second, and so this is, for this reason I thought this room I do just water. Well,
the ending of Finnegan's Wake mimics the movement of the Liffey, and it has words like "murmur-me," for example.
And I took these paintings are done with photos I did on the Rhine. You know, I was growing on the Rhine, next to the Rhine, and I was very often dort. And this is a memory for me, the Rhine paintings. It's not the big Rhine; it's the Rhine on the sides. So it's a permanent changing. In spring, when the ice smelts, then the Rhine gets higher, and then so this is also something for the book. It's always changing, you know.
And the end of Finnegan's Wake, it's the water flowing into the sea.
Yeah. And for this reason, I thought this room should be water. Yeah. And you see the water also, kind of water on the books. The books are out of lead, but electrolyzed. I put them in the bath of electrolysis, and then each page is different. But each page is like water. Mm-hmm. You can turn the page, please. You see? Go on. You see, it's very different.
It's endless.
Finally, we have a little bit of dust here, you know. Yeah, water is connected with a women principle.
Yes.
I did a lot of work about women's, you know. I did the women's of the revolution, the women's of antiquity, and a lot of things I did.
And in the Finnegan's Wake at the end, where we're hearing the river flowing to the sea, we're also hearing the voice of Anna Livia.
Yeah, and it's in the Ulysses, the last chapter is when Madame Bloom speaks, and this is fantastic. You know, this is so fantastic. What?
Let's think about Joyce's movements. He lived, he was peripatetic. He lived in all kinds of places, Zurich, Trieste, Paris, different addresses in Paris.
Yeah.
But he doesn't write extensively about any of these places. He just keeps on coming back in memory and imagination to Dublin.
This I understand very well.
Okay.
Because I moved out of Germany too.
Yes.
But you know, I'm connected with the language. You know, I cannot really think in English, for example. I can only think in German.
Right.
Really thinking. But I'm since 91, I'm left Germany, and I must say, when I'm in another place, when I was, for example, once in the Negev in Israel, or when I'm in other places, I want to start immediately to do a studio there.
Right.
So Joyce could do it easily. He needs just something to write. For me, it's more difficult, you know. But I have also the feeling, I could start here now.
Right, but nonetheless, for many years you were based in Barjac, and that always seemed to me like the container for all your myths. It was a place which you had created in order to be your own personal version of Germany or your own personal version.
But it's connected with Germany, you know, through the tunnels.
Aha. Yes. There was,
I think I made the tunnels
I think this was the scariest part of Barjac for me.
Scarce?
The lead cistern full of water with one light bulb hanging over, down in the middle of the hill.
Yeah.
You go down the passageways to this.
Ah, yeah, the round one, the round tunnel.
This was subterranean, yeah.
Ah, yeah, But, you know, I like to fly over, and I like subterranean too.
Okay.
Then you can forget what is in the middle, you know?
Yeah.
Then you get more abstract, you know?
Okay. So for Joyce, it was an imperative to become an exile from his native country. And so you're saying there's a similar imperative for you to be displaced from Germany?
Yeah, I'm an immigrant.
Yeah.
I'm an immigrant, yes.
And at Barjac, also, what struck me was that your library was as big as your studio. It probably contains many more books now, but then it contained, 20 years ago, an enormous number of books.
It changed a lot.
In different cultures. It was like a physical equivalent to Finnegan's Wake in this respect. And in some ways, this work is not just a visual response to Finnegan's Wake, but it's like a sort of continuation of it in that respect. I mean, there are lots of textual elements
I
in
would
the work.
even say it's parallel. I would say I worked parallel to James Joyce. No, he was there, I was there, and we did the same.
Okay. Joyce was also a trickster, and he made a lot of his so-called quotations up. He was a forger in a way.
Yeah.
What about your quotations?
When I give a speech or when I write something, I never give the sources because I don't know them anymore. I have it in my head as a quotation. Sometimes the quotation I change without knowing.
Right.
But I'm not a scientist, you know. But I live with my quotations.
So they're adaptations.
Yeah.
Adaptations of the original quotes.
It's more. It goes down, and it sits there.
Right. So you give us more work to do.
Yeah.
Joyce once famously stated, "The only demand I make of my reader is that he should devote his whole life to reading my works," which strikes most people as outrageous.
No, it's normal.
Lies
it's completely normal.
Yes.
It's completely normal for him.
Okay. But of course, in some ways, he's also saying, if you just read the work once, you won't get it. That's not enough. You've got to come back to it from time to time in the course of your life, and you'll see things that you didn't see before. Do we need to adapt a similar approach to your work?
I'm very modest. I don't say the same thing.
But does your work tell us to come back?
That's clear, because it's very complex, because You know, for me, a work, a painting or a sculpture is never finished. I always go on, I continue, and so and if you have the opportunity to see more than once a work, then you see perhaps all the dissonance, when it was started, when it was going on, and you have more the feeling of this time loop. Yeah.
And in your past work, and in this installation in the room, you've often produced scenarios with books, giant books, often with lead pages, which are very difficult to turn. And of course, the reader who comes into the room feels inhibited from actually turning the pages.
Here you can. You cannot when it's a bookshelf with really big books.
Yes.
Then you cannot turn. But this is this has a meaning because each page in these lead books has photographs or little drawing or something. There's something in, but I protect it from the next catastrophe.
Right.
And I'm not very anthropocentric, you know?
Right.
I think the earth will go on and life will go on. Perhaps not with us, you know, because we are too stupid or so. But, you know, on the ground of the glaciers, there are bacteria. They found out, they survive an atomic war, a worldwide atomic war. And then they will start a new evolution. Mm-hmm. So then my lead books are, what is in the lead books is still good because it's protected by the lead. So my books are for the further evolution.
I hadn't thought of that. For viewers today coming into the exhibition, it's not our first thought we should open the books and turn the pages. And I think, therefore, they're books which keep secrets. The secrets are inside them and we can't open them up. Finnegan's Wake is often thought of as the ultimate container of mysteries for most readers. So is your own work, in a sense, saying there are secrets in here, but they remain secret?
No, I think sometimes I discover secrets in my work. What I didn't think about, what I did it, but I didn't think about. You know, that's always, you are not always, when you do something, you are not always on the same level of what you do. You know?
Right.
Later you discover what you meant, perhaps.
Okay. Yeah. In all of his books, Joyce reminds us constantly of material existence. The feel of wet clay, waves running over the beach, kidneys, smelling kidneys, cooking for breakfast.
You know, I had a time when I ate every morning kidney. You know, like in the...
You were a Joycean.
In Ulysses. Yes. It started with kidneys, no?
That's right.
Yeah.
Leopold Bloom.
And kidneys are fantastic, you know. Do you eat some?
I eat kidneys, yes.
Absolutely. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Kidneys are wonderful.
But when you get to... the kidneys are in Ulysses. When you get to Finnegan's Wake, it's a book that thinks about the new ways in which humanity is connected, not so much through your senses, because he's fascinated by radio waves, telephony, telescopy, ways of connecting that we can't touch or taste or hear without help, without the new media. Your work strikes me as being attached to traditional media for the most part. Does it connect with some of those connectivities that Joyce is thinking about, the new, insubstantial forms of connection?
But, you know, imagine Joyce today with all these tsunamis of information. You know, this is, I think people should read Finnegan's Wake to get rid of these horrible, what is this called, iPhones? No, what you get an iPhone,
for example,
internet or all this. This is no more. You don't have contacts anymore. You have just information, and you say like it, not like it, like, you know. This is hard. It's hard. It's horrible. Hard. It's horrible. So
There's no work
So,
to be done.
yeah.
Yeah, sure. Joyce was also fascinated by visual technologies. He was one of the first sponsors of the first cinema in Ireland. He helped to set up the first cinema in Ireland, the Volta in Dublin. A colleague, David Trotter, has argued very persuasively that, for example, the Wandering Rocks chapter in Ulysses is all about early filmmaking. And in Finnegan's Wake, Joyce thinks of this last of his books as a kaleidoscope.
Kaleidoscope, yeah.
A kaleidoscope where things collide. Is your work a kaleidoscope of things colliding?
They collide all the time, because even when I do a painting, it's very often in 1 year I destroy it, and it's completely ambiguous then, you know. No, that's clear. The kaleidoscope, when things get mixed up, like this, and by accident, you have a new meaning.
Yes. The Wake ranges across a great number of languages with their own literatures and mythologies, but as we've already said, it constantly comes back to its original departure, point of departure in Joyce's own life, in Ireland, with very specific political and religious issues attached to that. And during the period that Joyce was still living there, it was under military occupation by the British, with leaders like Parnell agitating for independence. So Parnell becomes a lost leader whom Joyce identifies with imaginatively in his work. Is there a similar political dimension in your work that bears on contemporary issues, do you think? Or is there a sense of lost possibilities for political renewal that you get in Joyce, as you get it in Joyce's work?
What do you mean, lost possibilities? For me or for...
Well, for all of us, I suppose, but for Joyce, thinking about his home...
No. I think I can give you a number of lost possibilities in the history, in my history, in the German history. Stunde Null, wie heißt das auf Englisch? They said in 45 there was a zero.
Year zero.
And they started again.
Yeah.
There was no zero, you know. I studied law in Friburg, and I had 3 professors who was Nazi, you know, and it was
Heidegger.
going on. Huh?
Heidegger.
Yeah, and it was going on and on and on, you know. But he was no more politically active, you know. But these professors I had, they made laws in those times, so there was politically important, and also, for example, 91, when the Warsaw Pact broke down, then the West, they was showing the muscles and said, we won. Our system won. And it shouldn't be said this, you know? She said, now we have a new constellation, we can do it. Sometimes politics seems to me like childish.
Can you say a little bit more about the specific elements in this installation? The entrance to the show is through a kind of gateway where you've got strips of material bearing quotations from the Wake. Was there anything that determined the choice of quotations, or are they random? Or
No, not random. No, certainly not. No. When I read it, I was noting all the time what I thought is, for example, the river stuff. Then I noted when I found something with sunflowers or the phoenix, you know, this open. This was phoenix, the thing.
Absolutely.
And so nothing was when I read it and I found something. And some of them I wrote on paper and so.
You mentioned the phoenix. Of course, it echoes Felix Culpa.
Augustinus.
Augustine's formulation.
Yeah.
But for Joyce, it also connects with the phoenix sin, the Phoenix Park murders,
Yeah,
which were political
in
murders.
In Dublin, no?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's at the end of the corridor, isn't it? It's the end of the corridor. It's announcing a historical turning point. Is it announcing a historical turning point? Is it saying the exhibition we've seen we're looking at operates on a political level as well as on a much more philosophical level?
You know, for me, I don't separate political or artistic or so. I read newspapers, I look sometimes TV, I'm informed. And what comes out then is not political art. It's art, but from a political man.
So this is where there are, I think, 11 river paintings. 11?
These ones.
I haven't counted.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, I wanted to fill up this room with the river, because this is for me the most important, not the most important, but the most thing what continues all the book. You know, the water, the river, and the coming back things and things like that.
And it's also in by connection with Joyce dedicated to the women. Because of Anna Livia Plurabelle and because of Molly Bloom. And in Finnegan's Wake, what we have at the end of the book are two washerwomen on either side of the river talking to one another. So these are lots of evocations of the female principle. Seems to me...
No, washing women's are full of mythology. Like in the Homer
in Ulysses.
Nausicaa.
Yes,
I made a lot of paintings about
Nausicaa.
Washing women's. That's. I saw once in Thailand. What is the next country next to Thailand? Burma. And there's a river. What is it? There's this river between them.
Oh yeah, I can't remember.
And I remember now. I saw once there two women washing.
Yeah.
It's a very, very simple, primitive, not primitive, simple.
Timeless.
Yeah. And I thought on this then.
Ah, right. Okay, this is Joyce.
on this river.
Yeah. The time span of the book, Finnegan's Wake, covers a bit less than 24 hours, but the action takes place mostly during the evening and the night. So it's really a book of the night. Does your work also connect up with the hours of darkness in this way, in this exhibition?
I would say here you see darkness and light. Because
the dawn,
It's in the water, the darkness, but there's some spiritual light.
Right.
About. I work very often at night, it's clear. But it's another thing.
Okay, yes.
Then I'm quiet and nobody calls, nobody is there, and then I work at night. And but in the night you have the dreams,
Exactly.
That's
which was my next question, because of course Joyce exploits that nocturnal setting to make us think about dream mechanisms, how dreams work. And he enjoys teasing us with allusions to the psychoanalysts of the day. He said this is the time when children are young and easily Freudened, for example. So should we be thinking about...
But he never gives Freudian explanations.
No.
He's not a psychoanalyst.
No, he's interested, but he's...
But I think he thought it's too boring.
He makes fun of it.
I think when you have a book and you give psychological explanations, it's always boring, no?
Depends on the interpreter. So I'm just wondering whether your work here is supposed to be a product of dreaming, or whether it's also supposed to make us think about psychoanalytical approaches to the contents and the transformations of dreams.
No, I wouldn't say it's about dreaming. It's about all my life until now.
Okay.
What includes dreams too.
Okay.
And hope too.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And we've already, discussed one of the settings of the wake, the River Liffey. Of course, one of the most important scenes in the book is public house, the pub, and there's a nursery, there's a bathroom, and there's a bedroom. Of course, the bedroom of H.C. Earwicker and Anna Livia Plurabel. Have you evoked those particular settings, or have you avoided them mostly?
You know, I did so much bedrooms in my artistic life. I did the beds for the women of the revolution. I did a bed with a big stone on it, and I did once here, Valhalla. It was beds too.
Yeah.
No, beds are an important thing for me. Okay. You know, bed. When you give birth, you're on a bed. When you are verletzt, hurt by the war, yes. Then they bring you on a bed and bring you somewhere. So the bed is an important consolation. Yes.
Right. It's the language of the wake that's the problem for most people, and that makes them think it's several steps too far in terms of experimentation. But of course, inside that very, very difficult language, there are clearly passages that echo the vocabularies of specific disciplines like history, geography, theology, music, law, politics, archaeology, architecture, and more. And I'm wondering whether you're like this in that you've always invited your viewers to see your own work as a bringing together, a mixing of different disciplines, different vocabularies.
Absolutely. I'm interested, in a lot of things, and I'm interested in things that is difficult. I have a magazine. It's called wie heißt es? Spektrum.
Oh yeah.
It's for Wissenschaftler, scientists. And I cannot understand even not half, but I read, and because I'm interested in these other subjects, and you know certainly that one of the scientists who was studying the atomic or even the smaller stuff than atoms. Yeah. He looked for a word for these little things, and he found it, the quarks. Yes. He found it in Finnegan's Wake. You know this?
Yes, exactly.
It's funny, no?
Yes, yeah, it's inevitable. Huh? Inevitable. Final question. Have you noticed that there's a very close similarity between your handwriting and that of James Joyce?
No, but I'm very proud now. No, I didn't.
It's fate. Thank you very much.